Alright students, here's your first full-fledged math video for the year. As you can see, what I have on the board right here is place value. This is already something you're supposed to know, and we're going to review it just a little bit before we begin. But if you're taking notes, you should put this in your notes. If you've forgotten it, write it down so you can work on it and remember it. In case you can't read my writing, the first position to the right of the decimal is tenths with a THS on the end. The second position is hundredths, THS. Everything over here's got a THS on the end of it. Then thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millions, and they go on, but I'm going to stop right there. To the left of the decimal, and please tell me you know your left and your right. Please tell me you know that, because I'm going to use left and right a lot. To the left of the decimal, the first position is ones. Now notice, these are not balanced around the decimal. Right here I have tens, and here I have tenths. But there is no such thing as once. It even sounds stupid. So we don't have ones on this side. Once. We don't have that. It's not even, it doesn't even exist. Okay? So first position to the left is ones, then tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and it goes on and on. Okay? So you have to understand this before you can understand how to add or subtract decimals. Now I'm going to make up a number, and then we're going to read it. Okay, so here's a number. If I wanted to read that number, I have to figure out what position this is in. Well, it's 3 over, so it's 1, 2, 3, so it's thousandths, because that's the last thing I'm going to say when I read this number. And then I'm going to go over to the left and read the whole number part of this. This to the left is the whole number portion, and this is the decimal portion. So the whole number has got 4 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's thousands. So it's 1,234. Then I say the word and. That right there is the word and. Then I read this number right there from the decimal over. I read it, 456. And what did I say I was going to say at the very end? Thousandths. So it's 1,234 and 456 thousandths. Let me say it again. 1,234 and 456 thousandths. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, well, let's see. I've got 4 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10 thousandths is what I'm going to say. And sometimes I even write me a little note down here. 10 thou. That's what I'm going to say at the end. Okay? So I come to the left of the decimal and read that whole number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 10,000. So it's in the 10,000s position. So it's 62,589. And then I read this number. Well, that's just 234. So it's 62,589 and 234 10,000ths. Okay, so there's a little practice in your place value and how to read a number. And everybody needs to know how to do this. Now then, if you're taking notes, if you have your composition notebook and you're taking notes, here's what you're going to put in your notes. Add, subtract, decimals. Here's the rule. Line up the place value values and the decimal. If you line up the place value, the decimal will be lined up. Now, you have a handout in front of you. And that handout should look like 1, 1. And here's problem, right here, here's problem 1. So we're going to get our handout after you get that written in your notes. Don't let me go too fast. Rule for adding and subtracting decimals. Line up the place values and the decimal. Okay? Now we're going to go to right here, problem number 1. Now right out here to the side, we're going to write this in vertical where we can line it up. 45 and 6/10. We're going to practice reading them while we're writing them down. And then 26 and 3/10. The 6 and the 3 have to be underneath each other. The decimals have to be lined up. The 1s and the 10s have to be lined up. Then we start over on the right-hand side adding numbers. 6 plus 3 is 9. Bring down your decimal. 6 plus 5 is 11. Write down the 1 and carry a 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. So your answer should be 71 and 9/10. So you're going to show me your work, and you should be working in pencil. I'm working in ink because it shows up better. So show your work in pencil and circle your answer or put a box around it or highlight it or do something to it when you're finished so that your teacher can find your answer easily. Okay? All right, we're going to go down to number 6. And yes, you're going to do all these others in a little while. And we're going to subtract. So we have 8.006. We're going to subtract from that 6. The 6 has got to go under the 8. The 3 goes under a 0. The 8 goes under a 0. And I can fill in a 0. One more time, I have to line up my place values. The 0's in the tenths and the 3's in the tenths, so they have to be underneath each other. 0 and 8 are in the hundredths, so they have to line up. All right, now we're going to start over here on the right. 6 minus 0 is still 6. Now, I can't take 8 from nothing, and I can't borrow from this one because it's nothing. So I have to go all the way over here to this 8 and borrow a whole 1, and that's going to reduce that to a 7. Now, that makes 80, that makes that 8 right there 7, and then that makes that a 9, and it makes this 0 a 10. Notice I just put that 1 right there, so that's a 10. If you added up, all that up, it would amount to 8, the 8 that we borrowed from to begin with. So now I have 10 minus 8 is 2. I have 9 minus 3 is 6. Bring down the decimal. And 7 minus 6 is 1. And there's one that's just a little bit harder, that's subtraction. Okay. Now, rule for multiplication. Go back to your little notebook, and we're going to talk about multiplying. We want the multiplication rule. Well, let's see. We're not going to line up decimals, so I'm going to put do not line up the decimals. What we are going to do is do line up the right side of the numbers with the number with the most digits on top. Now here's what I mean. I'm going to work number 7 right here. If we take 4 89 and multiply that by 2 2/10, this number has got more digits, so I'm going to put it on the top. This one's got fewer digits, I'm going to put it on the bottom. And I'm going to line up the right side, and I'm going to ignore the decimal point till the end. So up here on our rule, we're going to ignore the decimal until the very end. Okay? Now here's why you've been working on your multiplication facts, because we're fixing to use them. We're going to start right here with this 2, and we're going to say 2 times 9 is 18. I'm going to write down the 8 underneath where I was just working and carry the 10 part of that. I'm going to keep this same 2 and say 2 times 8 is 16, plus the one I carried is 17. Write down the 7, carry the 1. I'm going to take this same 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Now I'm going to fill in a placeholder because I'm moving over. I've done this one, so that tells me I've done that one. Now I'm going to use this 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Write down the 8, and I carried the 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Write down the 7, carry the 1. And 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Draw a line, add them up. 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. 9 plus 1 is 10. 10 plus 7 is 17. Write down the 7, carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. Now then, here's the big deal. I've got a decimal point in there somewhere, and I have to figure out where it goes. So I'm going to count the number of digits to the right of both of those decimal numbers, both of those factors. So there's 1, 2 here, there's 1 here, so I have a total of 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get at the back of this number and move over 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So my decimal goes right there. Okay, in case you're in doubt, we're going to stick a calculator up here right beside this, and we're going to put in 4.89, and we're going to hit the time sign, and we're going to multiply that by 2 2/10. And we got 10 758 thousandths. Now, what are these zeros off over here on this calculator? Well, it's because I have my calculator set to read that many digits. If I only wanted it to read 3 digits, then I would go set it. It's set on 5. I'd set it on 3. And there we go. When we do it now, it reads the same thing as what I got. So those zeros aren't meaning anything there. Okay, so let's practice another multiplication. So your answer to number 7, and you need to put your work on your paper. And let's go over and do number 9. And let's do it right here beside this one in case people are still writing. I'm fixing to do number 9 right here. The longest digit, well, they both are showing 3, but that second number has got a leading 0, so it's really only got 2 digits that I'm going to use. So I'm going to put the 54 1/10 on the top, and I'm going to put a decimal 69, and I'm going to line up this side of the digits. Don't worry about where the decimal is, because remember, you're going to ignore it. Okay, draw your line, ignore your decimal, and start multiplying. Everybody ready? 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Write down the 6 and carry the 3. 9 times 5 is 45. 45 plus 3 is 48. So write down 48. I'm moving over to use the 6, so I have to put a placeholder here. And now I'm going to go through it with 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Write down the 4 and carry the 2. Ignore that 3 now. 6 times 5 is 30. Plus 2 is 32. Line up your digits. Draw a line and add them up. 9 plus 0 is 9. 6 plus 6 is 12. Write down the 2, carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. Write down the 3, carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 3 is just 3. Go back and count up your digits to the right of the decimal. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So there's where your decimal goes.